In October 2016, operatives of the Directorate of State Services stormed the residence of some judges at night like armed robbers. Many justified the impunity on grounds of fighting corruption. Overlooked was the damage the raid did to the rule of law and the threat to the independence of the judiciary. Exactly 5 years later, a combined team of unknown security agents last Friday invaded the residence of Justice Mrs. Mary Odili. The consensus now is that some operatives of the current administration seem desperate to destroy the judiciary in pursuit of sinister agenda. What happened? Why was the residence of Justice Odili invaded? What factors led to this raid? And who is actually responsible for the raid? Is it even legal? Will those responsible be held accountable and sanctioned? Human rights lawyer, Sunday Igboho's lead counsel, Pelumi Olanjengbesi, joins us on Sahara TV to analyze the legal perspective to this debacle. Barrister Olanjengbesi, thank you for joining us on Sahara TV.
Yeah, thank you for having me this morning. Good morning.
Barrister, let me ask, what's your reaction to the invasion of the residence of this most senior justice of the Supreme Court?
Um, Honestly, this is my reaction. It's a solid tale in the narrative of the type of democracy we practice in Nigeria. And this will remain for a very long time. But essentially, this administration led by Major General Muhammadu Buhari has successfully built a statute for shame and lawlessness for itself. And it will remain so till the end of time. This is because in every democratic system of government, governance machinery and government must be within the precinct of the rule of law. And so when you have a government who have disregard for the rule of law, a government who rule by its own choice, by its own mind, I mean, that government is a disgrace to democracy. And that is the kind of experience we are having today in Nigeria. Well, Nigerians are concerned, a lot of people are disappointed because this is happening to not just an eminent Nigerian, but a senior member of the judiciary, an arm of the government. But then things like this are happening every day. Nigerians are being lawlessly maltreated. Houses of Nigerians are being invaded at the wee hours of the day on daily basis by security agencies. And this has continued unabated because of impunity, because a lot of people who have done this wrong in the past has not been brought to justice. So for me, in the principle, in the doctrine of corporate governance, we have a duty to hold the head of government responsible. A lot of Nigerians, a lot of people are worried about who are the security agencies, who order the security agencies. Every arm of the executive, every instrumentality of the executive is being controlled first by the president. And so we should hold the president accountable for such level of lawlessness. We are also even surprised that the president has not addressed this issue. This is simply because it matters nothing to him. So for me, I just think that at the end of the day, in a democratic setting, President Buhari was elected to lead the country, to give the people direction, to bring the country out of suffering, and to give Nigerians new hope. But unfortunately, very soon in the next few months or years, President Buhari will leave the place, and a statute for shame, for lawlessness, for failure will be built for him at the center of Abuja, and this will live in the minds of Nigeria forever.
Earlier on, you talked about this government's utter disregard for the rule of law. And one question, and help us put this in the proper legal perspective. Consider the fact that the Constitution guarantees the doctrine of independence of the judiciary. Does any security agency or prosecuting authority in Nigeria have any power to investigate, arrest, or prosecute any sitting judicial officer?
No, you see, we must be very clear about this. The fact that a person is a member of the judiciary or member of the bench does not mean the person is immune from investigation. Because first, this person is a citizen of Nigeria. As a matter of fact that someone is a president or governor of a state does not mean the person is immune from investigation. But the fundamental principle here is that whatever must be done within the principle of our law. For example, the house of a senior citizen like that was invaded without a proper search warrant. I mean, without a justifiable search warrant. It's an embarrassment, I mean, to all lawyers all over the world. It's an embarrassment to us, particularly. So what we are saying is that I do not believe that because someone is CJN governor or whatever in this country, that the person should not be investigated. I mean, if we must develop this country, if we must have a country that is decent for everyone, no one should be immune from investigation. It is a different ball game if you want to prosecute. You know, we understand that the constitution has clothed the governors and of course the president with immunity, but that does not mean they cannot be investigated. At the appropriate time, they can be prosecuted if found wanting. Also, eminent member of the judiciary can also be investigated, but not in the manner that we are doing it. I mean, it is very clear that this was actually a deliberate attempt to harass, to silence, and and to make nonsense of the judiciary. Because, for example, if a Lord Justice was suspected of committing committing a particular crime, there's a procedure that has been established by law for such a crime to be investigated. I mean, there are agencies that are body of government, even within the judiciary, who have duty to investigate such a wrong or such crime. But the according, you've described them as unknown security agency, and it is a shameful thing. I mean, Nigerians and leaders of this country should be worried that this country is becoming a laughing stock in the Committee of Nations. How can we say we are battling with unknown gunmen, and today we are now battling with unknown security agency? Highly respected of the AGF make the statement that Nigerian government is not aware of such an atrocity. How can every agency of government deny such an act? I mean, it is really shameful. According to the report, I am not certain, I'm not sure about that. It was said that a particular major in the Nigerian army led the invasion. I mean, this is unbelievable. So for me, it's a painful thing. It's a sordid tale. But the succor we are getting is in the fact that this administration will leave one day, and that Nigerians will now have duty to take a new decision to give a positive direction for this country. So we are not going to give up. We are not going to run away from this country because of President Buhari.
Let's look at the legality of the warrant that was issued. I mean, the warrant was issued on the strength of a dubious affidavit, whose deponent was actually, he was swore to it with a more dubious address from Niger State. Isn't this a crime or something? I mean, false affidavit and false police report. Shouldn't somebody be prosecuted in this regard?
The law is settled that before a search warrant can be issued, there must be an information on oath given by a particular person. When you give an information on oath in a form of an affidavit, I mean, it is a statement before the court. And if these statements are not genuine, or if any of the information contained therein is not genuine, you can be held accountable. You can be prosecuted. It is very important. Also, I think that we are making nonsense of the judicial system. The eminent magistrate who signed the search warrant also should be asked questions. I mean, should be called to question. I learned that she has actually vacated that order. I do not understand the premises and the basis why this order was given in the first place. And also, the search warrant was not even directed to that particular house. It means that government is just, and you see, my concern is this: when government is frustrated and is beginning to struggle for legitimacy and acceptance by the people, a government who lacks clear focus and sense of direction may be left with no option than to coerce people to believe and submit to its wish. Take a look at what happened on the 1st of July in Oyo State, at the house of Chief Sunday Igboho. Look at what is going on across the country. I think strongly that this government needs to have a rethink. This government needs to sit down and begin to engage the Nigerian people. In every democracy, there must be conversation. In every democracy, you must listen to people's opinion. And if you do not listen to people's opinion, then we may be going towards anarchy. Nigeria currently has gone beyond the precipice. And as I speak to you now, if we are not careful, we may not have a country we can call our own again. This is simply because all the great ingredients of a sane and a democratic society is lacking in Nigeria. And that is the kind of society we are, and that is what we are experiencing on daily basis. Like I said yesterday, a lot of people are actually disappointed about what happened to eminent justice Mary Odili. But the truth is, Nigerians on daily basis are being picked on the street. Nigerians on daily basis are being detained for no reason. If you get to the DSS if you get to the SSS there are people who have been there for over 8 years, who have been there for over 10 years, and there's no justice. Some have been there for 5 years and they've not been to court. If you get to the former SARS which is now known as which is also IRT, it is the same thing. This country is lawless.
Let's get the sense of this. The reaction, there has been reactions from uh, the Nigerian Bar Association strongly condemning the invasion. One question we still bothers a lot of Nigerians is why there has been much more proactive actions from the judiciary itself in terms of a pushback beyond just issuing strong-worded statements. Shouldn't something more be done beyond just issuing strong statements in order to serve as a pushback and as a deterrence to this culture of impunity by this government?
Yeah, I personally I am slightly becoming worried about that. I'm worried because like I want to believe that the NBA leadership should not run the NBA just like what President Buhari is doing. President Buhari will condemn anything condemnable every single day, but there will be no action. For every tragedy, there will be statement. The presidency condemned in totality, but the presidency have refused to address these things in totality. So I think the NBA will need to move a little bit forward by being concerned about the justice system in this country. I give you an example. When during the old saga of the Chief Sunday Igboho, when the court granted bail to the 12 disciples of Sunday Igboho, and a release warrant was duly issued by the court and addressed to the DSS. But shockingly, for several days, the DSS refused to release them. It took a lot of pressure from different quarters to ensure that they were released and before they gave in for wisdom. However, during this dark period, one of the actions we took was to write a letter to the president of the Nigerian Bar Association. But that letter never got any acknowledgement, any response, or any action. And so I was thinking that the gentleman who is the president of the bar is probably selecting issues he's interested in engaging with. But when you talk about lawlessness, when you talk about impunity, there's no different name about it. It is the same thing. And if you refuse to engage government now, tomorrow the Nigerian Bar Association office can also be invaded by Nigerian security. The Nigerian Bar Association is not extraordinary to if this government or if Nigerian security agency can invade the homes of justices in the wee hour of the day. I do not think that there is any other organization or any other body that is too important for them to harass. So the most important thing is that every citizen or everybody in this country must understand that we need to fix this country. And the way to fix this country is to talk truth to the power, is to engage government in all seriousness. It's not about releasing statement. I can release a statement here. Personally, I do not even release statement about some issues again, because releasing statement is about managing your perception before the public. But what we are saying is that let's take sensible and realistic action that can engage government and that can ensure that all of these things should be addressed. I do think strongly that by now that the NBA should have an emergency meeting and declare that all calls should be boycotted until this matter is addressed. Because there's a need for us. It is not even important why the house was invaded. There's a need for us to know the charlatan behind this action. And there's a need for us to understand, the motive behind the action. It's not just about keeping quiet. If we are not careful, this will go and nothing will happen and the country will continue. And by continuing in this manner, we are building a country that will definitely not help us, that will definitely fail. And that is why all of these things must be addressed. So it is not enough for the president of the NBA to release a statement in such a manner. There's a need also for the president and the executive of NBA to take more drastic action to ensure that there is liberty in this country. And I want you to know that the Nigerian Bar Association is a crucial currency in getting justice and liberty for Nigerians, because that is the fundamental purpose of having such an eminent association. And so if NBA is engaging, NBA is engaging government as if we are a national association of motorcycle riders or something, by releasing statement and all of that, we will not go anywhere. I am not saying outrightly that the NBA is not doing anything, but my position is that NBA is not doing enough, and the NBA is not being drastic about its decision and action. If we wrote a letter to the NBA, and a lot of people have written similar letters to NBA, and NBA cannot even respond to the letter or take any meaningful action, I mean, it's a thing of great concern to us. I know for sure, like I said to you, that the NBA has reacted today simply because it involved a very important citizen, a very important person in the country. But I also want us to know that Nigerians on daily basis are being harassed, are being maltreated by these security agencies. And so we should not even be concerned about people who are eminent in the country alone. We should also be concerned about every citizen. Because as I speak to you today, the government that is in place does not really understand the principle of separation of power, does not really understand, or is not even interested in communicating on the basis of rule of law. And it is only organization or the civil society, organization like the NBA or the civil society, that can engage this government and bring this government to senses.
Finally, there's been call on the authorities to launch investigation into this unfortunate attack on the judiciary. Nigerians are actually bothered about whether justice will actually be meted out, considering the facts that most reports and investigation that have been taking place in the past have been, rubbished and dumped in the dustbin of irrelevance. What should be done at this point in time beyond just this investigation to ensure that those remotely involved in this show of shame will be held accountable, sanctioned, and possibly prosecuted?
Well, whether we like it or not, what the law has established is the process of investigation. Questions must be asked. So we can't jump the guns. And I mean, that is what exactly must be done. So if the government is determined to do that, we will wait patiently to see the result of the investigation.
But do
But
you see
then,
any?
as
But
human,
do you see anything coming out of this investigation?
but as a proper Nigerian who understands the Nigerian political character, we've several of you recently we had issues relating to Abakari. Abakari is somewhere enjoying himself, and nothing has happened. You see, this country is all about party party. It's about who knows who, and sadly, it has been so for a very long time. We hope that there'll be liberation very soon. So we will be positive because we don't have any other option. If I have the capacity to engage whoever is involved directly, physically, I will do that. But now that we can't do that, we will allow government to do their investigation, the security agency to do their investigation, and they should please bring their investigation report to public and sanction everyone that is involved. Personally, I'm writing a letter this morning to the Chief of Army Staff for him to investigate the particular major in the army who led the team, and please let's know that person and let us know the role of the Nigerian army in such a show of shame. In the past, the Nigerian army has been one enviable and respected government agency. They've been trying their best to combat terror, to fight in protecting the integrity or the territorial integrity of this country, and even to give support to some African nations. We do not believe that the Nigerian army can now be reduced to errand boys. It cannot be reduced to political talks like it was experienced in this Justice Peter Odili's invasion. So this is a very serious question. We're sending in that letter today. We'll put it out there, and we're expecting the Chief of Army Staff to give us proper response on that.
Barrister Pelumi Olanjengbesi, thank you so much for your insightful perspective and analysis.
Thank you very much, sir.